Hi, and welcome back to RCM Tech Talk. I'm joined by Francis Burton, and today we're going to go through the details of assessing your RCM operation. This is going to allow you as a revenue cycle director to understand what's going on at a more granular level than you're probably used to, and maybe more so than your peers. But it's important that we get into the nuance and the weeds here. If you're going to make digital transformation become a reality, you're going to have to know how things work, and more importantly, where they don't work. Francis?
Yes, I have often gone into practices where they are doing things the way they've always done. They do know there's something that needs to change. They would love to do things easier, faster. They just need some help figuring out what is out there. What am I not utilizing? And how can I do this better?
Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to go through a few things spread across, different clips here, but you'll get the whole package of how to start out by getting to know the organization. We're kind of thinking this from the perspective of a revenue cycle director who's sort of starting fresh in an organization and may not have all the ground level experience. Though this does apply to, folks that have been promoted up through the ranks and may really know some of the organization, but maybe not all of it. But you can take from this what you can. The basics of performance benchmarking. So sort of what are the very first things that you need to understand, get your arms around, have working knowledge of? Then we'll get into the nuance of the actual departmental level workflow. So verification of benefits and authorization issues, everything that happens on the front desk and sort of case management behind the scenes, getting folks in the door and prepped for service. Documentation and coding issues. A lot of times, especially now in a world dominated by Medicare Advantage, documentation and coding is becoming increasingly important, and we need to understand what's going on and where the issues are. Billing accuracy. As the level of nuance changes across payers, so does the demand on your billing team to get claims out the door customized to the payer they're going to correctly the first time. Insurance AR, of course, we're always talking about AR and denials and everything is sort of in that workflow. We're going to go deep into that and help you focus on the major issues and how to triage those things. And of course, patient AR is equally challenging. A lot of more high deductible plans means a lot more patient responsibility and a lot more opportunities to drop the ball on the patient AR side of things. And finally, posting issues. As we all have seen, you can bury a lot of money in adjustments and other things and recoupments and credits and all kinds of challenges that come up in the world of posting. We're going to get in the weeds of that too. And from this process, you're going to get an end-to-end holistic understanding of your organization's operation and be able to really have intelligent conversations with team members that can sort of get you to the next step. So we're going to get started right now. So getting to know the organization. Francis, you've done this role. You've worked with these folks, the revenue cycle directors who are sort of trying to get their arms around a problem. What have you seen?
Well, oftentimes when I get into a practice organization as a consultant, it's similar to what you're saying we're describing here today is a new RCM director. You basically kind of have to start wide and then work yourself drill down, right? Start at the organization level. What's happening in the company? What's going right? What's going wrong? Where are the shortages in whether it be staff or tools? You just really have to get a feel for, the specialty, the number of providers. Where are the issues how are people using reports to identify where the priorities are and what decisions are being made based on these KPIs, metrics, again, reports. Are they coming out of the system? Are you doing it through spreadsheets? What are you doing to identify how you come in every day, attack the day?
Yeah, great.
So I would typically recommend that people start at the company level, the business. What's new in the company? Are you growing? Have you added a location? Have you lost 2 providers to retirement, or are you getting ready to replace them with 3? The vendors, are you using an outside company for parts of your AR management? Are you using what clearinghouse are you using? And are you using their denial manager features? Is your credentialing, is it done in-house? Is it done outside? The patient engagement tools, are you sending out paper statements or are you doing text billing, e-billing? Those are the kind of third-party entities that people do utilize. So I would need to know, or the RCM person new to the practice would need to know, tell me all these things, what's in place and what's not. The billing locations providers, the rendering providers, you may have a lot of therapists, or you may have uh, physician extenders, nurse practitioners, PAs. You want to know, pause, for the billing locations and providers and rendering. You want to know, do you have 10 providers and 22 rendering? Do you have nurse practitioners, physician extenders, speech therapists, occupational therapists, physical therapists? It's a good gauge to have going in as to what kind of services are being rendered. Certainly by specialty. If you have a multi-specialty entity, they have a clinic, they have a diagnostic center, they have lab. You need to get a feel for all of those things. Your payer mix, you want to know which one is your biggest payer, right? Medicare, if you're not treating the elderly, you're treating pediatrics, then you want to know what that payer mix is. Which ones are commercial, which ones are government, and are there any plans that you are out of network with? Tell me why. Why are you out of network with that payer? Is it because their contract terms don't line up with what you can do, what you can deliver? Is it because the reimbursement fee schedule is terrible? Need to know about that. Your top codes. I always like to see the top 20 codes of a organization. It tells you a little bit more about that specialty into the service line detail level. You can ask for the charge amounts, the fee schedule. Do you have one fee schedule? Do you have two fee schedules? And why? You have the highest dollars. I always go for those. Like, show me what your top 20, not only by volume, but by dollar. And we'll get into that more a little later. The current reporting. What are the board members asking from you each month? Or is it monthly? Is it quarterly? Which ones do you provide directly to the CFO at the end of each day in the way of your deposits, just what you've done for the day, and so that they can put it into their accounting system? What are the metrics that you're using? Is it collection rate? Is it days in AR, denial rate? I want to know all the things you're currently using and what you're not using. And again, what's going well, what's not going well is usually a perception, right? Depends on the department you ask. If you ask the higher ups, they'll say, well, really, I feel like something is wrong. I just can't put my finger on it. That's a lot of what I would get. Then you've got the RCM director who's been there 25 years that thinks everything's hunky-dory because she's doing a good job. This is how she's done it for years. She will continue to do it this way because it works for her. Then you talk to a provider, depending on the provider. One may say, well, I've been saying every month something's not right, especially when I'm working harder than Joe over here sitting next to me in the boardroom. Something's not right. Whereas somebody else is like, I feel like I'm making about the same I've always been making. That's probably about right. So it's a matter of perception. You get to the team, your RCM team. You have some people that are like just your worker bees. They're every day doing their thing. And you've got some that's not there very often, but they get their work done. You really want to know, again, is it working? How do they divide up the team? Is it by payer groups? Is it by patient AR versus insurance AR? Is it alphabetical? There are so many ways. A combination of ways sometimes is warranted, but I would need to know the director would need to know, how are we dividing up the team?
Yeah. Those are all really important things. And, I think a lot of this, you could kind of divide up between what's homework and what requires a conversation. And as everyone already knows, if you do your homework ahead of time, the conversation that you're going to have in person, you're going to be more prepared. You're not going to be asking sort of naive questions. And so a lot of these things even a brand new revenue cycle director can understand just by running some reports and just by getting access to some data and sort of making some mental notes to then go follow up with. And we're going to get in the deep dive of those follow-up conversations as we drill in.